So apparently, 50 Cent's infamous stabbing story might not be the gangster fairy tale he's been selling us for decades. Yeah, according to Benzino, one of the messiest truth tellers in hip-hop history, that whole Hit Factory incident wasn't exactly the near-death street legend moment 50 made it sound like. And when Benzino starts talking, you already know it's either about to expose something wild or blow up into a full-blown internet circus. Now imagine this. The same story that helped build 50's bulletproof image, the man who survived 9 shots and a stabbing, could actually be faker than a reality TV relationship on Zeus Network. If what Benzino's saying is true, the industry might have been worshipping a myth this whole time. Fans are losing their minds. Old interviews are being dug up like unsolved crimes. And social media detectives are acting like this is hip-hop's version of the GFK files, because if Benzino's receipts are real, it means 50's legacy, that cold, untouchable street aura, might have been built on Hollywood storytelling. So grab your popcorn, because the streets just turned into TMZ, and the truth, it's coming with smoke. Let's rewind the clock to the early 2000s, a time when hip-hop wasn't just about bars, it was about battle scars. Every rapper had a war story, and the harder the tale, the bigger the legend. And nobody, absolutely nobody, played that game better than Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. The man came into the rap world like a Marvel villain with a mixtape, 9 bullet wounds, a survival story, and an attitude that screamed, "Try me, I'll sell 1 million while I heal." But hidden behind that bulletproof persona was another tale, the infamous Hit Factory stabbing story. According to hip-hop folklore, this was the night 50 Cent supposedly got attacked during a recording session in New York's legendary Hit Factory studio. The narrative was simple: 50 vs. the industry. He was the outcast who dared to expose names, call out crews, and talk reckless. And that night, he allegedly paid the price. But now, Benzino, yes, the same Benzino who's been part rapper, part chaos, part walking headline, just said, "Hold up. That story y'all been repeating for 20 years? That ain't how it went down." And you could practically hear the record scratch across the internet. See, Benzino isn't exactly new to controversy. This man's career has been like one long love and hip-hop episode that never got cancelled. Whether it's feuds with Eminem, clashes with the Source magazine, or wild street rumors, he's been at the center of chaos more times than Kris Jenner's PR team. But this time, he didn't come swinging with gossip. He came with clarity. According to Benzino, the Hit Factory incident wasn't some dramatic blood-soaked showdown. He claims 50 exaggerated, twisted, and Hollywoodified the whole event to boost his image. In Benzino's words, 50 wasn't stabbed up in some gang-style hit. He was just part of a heated scuffle that spiraled out of control. And here's where things get messy, because this isn't just a random internet theory. Benzino says he was there. He says the narrative that's been circulating all these years, the one that painted 50 as the victim turned superhero, was actually more like a studio argument with bad timing and worse storytelling. Imagine that. One of rap's most iconic "I almost died" tales being downgraded to a glorified studio fight. That's like finding out Tupac's "All Eyes on Me" was inspired by a parking ticket. When Benzino dropped that bomb, the hip-hop internet did what it always does: exploded like a Twitter space gone wrong. Fans who grew up idolizing 50's gangster origin stories started pulling up old footage, old interviews, and comparing every tiny detail. Some swore Benzino was lying out of jealousy. Others started connecting dots that had been sitting in plain sight for decades. Because here's the thing, when you go back and actually rewatch early G-Unit interviews, the story does shift like a remix that never got mastered. One version says he was jumped. Another says he was stabbed. Another one, depending on the interviewer, says he walked out bleeding but laughing. And in classic 50 Cent fashion, he leaned into the myth. He made it part of his brand. Every scar, every story, every near-death moment became marketing gold. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a survivor. The guy who got hit, got up, and got rich. But Benzino just tore the lid off that coffin, basically saying, "Bro, you didn't get stabbed. You got embarrassed." You could almost feel the collective gasp ripple through the culture. Because love him or hate him, 50 built an empire of being untouchable. Power, BM, vitamin water, even his Instagram beefs, everything tied back to that street legend image. The idea that he was the man who lived through hell and laughed about it. Now Benzino was calling him out, saying, "You built your career off fiction, not fact." And you know what makes this even wilder? Benzino didn't just accuse, he doubled down. He started recalling details that sounded too specific to ignore. The number of people in the room, the way the fight started, the security's reaction. He described the scene like a guy who's been holding this grudge since dial-up internet. Social media detectives ate it up like they were auditioning for CSI, Hip Hop Edition. Memes popped up overnight, 50 Cent holding a paper cut like it was a gunshot wound. People joking that he got stabbed by studio equipment. And TikTokers reenacting the Hit Factory story with ketchup packets. And of course, 50's fans weren't having it. The get rich or die trying generation flooded the comments with digital smoke. They defended their idol like he was the last Avenger left standing. Stop hating, Zeno. 50's realer than you'll ever be. You were too busy losing to Eminem to know what really happened. But the thing is, Benzino might have hit a nerve. Because for all his drama, one thing Benzino has always been good at is making people uncomfortable with the truth. This wasn't some random cloud chase, it was a calculated strike. He was poking a hole in the legend of one of hip-hop's most invincible figures. And the timing couldn't have been more perfect. 50's in the spotlight again with his TV empire booming, podcasts replaying old feuds, and hip-hop nostalgia running wild. Benzino knew exactly when to drop the bomb when the world was already looking back at the early 2000s with fresh eyes. So now the internet split into the camps. Team Benzino's bitter vs. Team Wait. He might be right. Because here's the uncomfortable truth, hip-hop thrives on myth-making. Half the legends we love were built on stories that sound a little too cinematic to be real. Guns, betrayals, miracles, all perfectly timed to drop before an album. And 50? He mastered that formula. He turned trauma into branding, pain into platinum. But Benzino just cracked that illusion, daring people to look closer, to ask, what if the Hit Factory wasn't a battlefield, but just a bad night with a better PR spin? And the question everyone's whispering now, if that story was fake, what else was? Because if you've been following 50 for years, you know one thing. Every time someone questions his past, he doesn't stay quiet. He claps back with memes, sarcasm, and a petty energy so strong, NASA could use it to power satellites. So now the stage is set, Benzino's stirring the pot. 50's fans are foaming at the mouth, and the internet is waiting for the clapback of the year. But what if this time, the silence speaks louder than the jokes? Because for a man who's made a career off laughing at everyone else, being exposed even a little bit hits different. And if Benzino's telling even 10% of the truth, that changes everything we thought we knew about the man who built an empire on pain, power, and survival. The question isn't whether Benzino's lying. The question is, what if he's not? And that, my friends, is where the scandal really begins to bleed. When Benzino dropped that little verbal grenade, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. Suddenly, every hip-hop gossip page from Vlad TV to the Shade Room was running, did 50 Cent fake his stabbing? Headlines like it was a new conspiracy theory. Fans were in full investigation mode, treating 2002 like it just happened last week. Reddit threads started looking like FBI case files, with timestamps, blurry photos, and grainy clips of 50 in bulletproof vests as evidence. But what made it even more chaotic? The memes. Oh, the memes were brutal. Someone posted a picture of 50 holding a butter knife with the caption, "This was the weapon that changed hip-hop." Another had him wrapped in a band-aid with the text, "Survivor of the Papercut Massacre." The internet has no chill. And when they smell blood, even fake blood, they go for the jugular. Now, Benzino knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't just come for the truth. He came for the legacy. 50 Cent's entire image, the fearless hustler who turned pain into power, was being dragged through the mud. And Benzino was standing in the middle of it, grinning like the Joker, saying, "Why so serious?" The wild part? Old school industry heads started quietly chiming in. People who were around back then, producers, bodyguards, even engineers started dropping, he might not be lying comments. You had dudes who hadn't posted since MySpace days suddenly showing up in comment sections saying, "I was there." Benzino got a point. And that's when things turn nuclear. Because once the OGs start talking, the internet stops laughing. Suddenly, what was a meme war turned into a legitimate re-examination of one of rap's most iconic street myths. People started pulling old footage from the Source Awards, early 50 Cent documentaries, interviews with G-Unit, and you could see it clear as day. The narrative did shift over time. In the early interviews, 50 just said, "There was a fight." Later, it became, "They tried to stab me." By the mid-2000s, it was, "They stabbed me, I bled, I walked out." Each version was more dramatic than the last. It's like the story went from bar fight to blockbuster movie script. Now, before you cancel your 50 Cent playlists, let's be real, 50 is not stupid. He's a marketing genius. The man turned vitamin water into a multi-million-dollar empire. He knew that in hip-hop, perception is everything. You can't just rap about the struggle, you have to look like you lived it. You gotta sell pain like it's Prada. So what Benzino was really attacking wasn't just a story, it was 50's entire mythology. The brand of "I survived what you couldn't." And that's why fans were torn. Some said Benzino was bitter because his career never reached 50's heights. Others said he was finally saying what insiders have whispered for years, that 50 might have been more show than street. But Benzino didn't stop there. He doubled down in interviews, calling out 50 directly. If he got stabbed, "Show the scars," he said, with that signature smirk that could piss off a monk. The internet lost it. Hashtags like #Scargate and #HitFactory hoax started trending. Then came the celebrity reactions, because no scandal is complete without Hollywood chiming in. Fat Joe reposted a meme laughing. Charlemagne the God said on The Breakfast Club, "If Benzino lying, 50'll bury him on IG." If he ain't, this could rewrite some pages in hip-hop history. And 50, not a single post, not one meme, not one clapback, not even a sarcastic caption. And that silence was louder than a diss track. See, this is where it got weird. Normally, 50 Cent can go 48 hours without trolling someone. He's roasted his own friends for fun. But this time, radio silence. It's like he knew any response would add fuel to the fire. But you know the internet, if you don't respond, they assume it's true. Suddenly, people were saying, maybe 50 ain't replying because Benzino hit a nerve. This whole thing became like an HBO miniseries. You had the fallen mogul Benzino trying to expose the king 50 Cent, the fans acting like jurors, and the blogs narrating every twist like courtroom reporters. And somewhere between the truth and the trolling, hip-hop found itself asking a question nobody saw coming: how much of our heroes' stories are real? Because let's be honest, this isn't the first time a hood legend story got messy. Remember when Rick Ross got exposed for being a corrections officer? Or when Bow Wow got caught flexing fake private jets? Hip-hop's always been part truth, part theater. But 50's legend was different. It wasn't just rap bravado, it was survival. So when Benzino threw that shadow, it hit deeper. It wasn't just about one night at the Hit Factory. It was about whether 50's pain, the thing that made him relatable, untouchable, iconic, was partly staged. And let's not ignore the irony. Benzino, the man who feuded with Eminem and nearly lost the Source magazine over it, is now exposing another rap titan 2 decades later. It's like the man collects beefs like infinity stones. He might not win them, but he sure knows how to keep his name trending. Still, there's something calculated in this chaos. Benzino didn't just wake up and spill tea. This felt timed. Maybe it's connected to his new music rollout. Maybe he's got a docu-series coming. Or maybe he just wanted one more viral storm before retirement. Whatever the motive, he played his cards right. He knew mentioning 50's name guarantees clicks, comments, and chaos. And chaos is the one thing Benzino's never lost at. Meanwhile, hip-hop Twitter became a circus. One side was defending 50 like it was a religion. He got shot 9 times. What you talking about, stabbed? Another side said, exactly. He always talked about getting shot, not stabbed. Benzino might be onto something. It was a digital battlefield, fans quoting lyrics, citing interviews, even debating medical facts about knife wounds like they were trauma surgeons. But the real twist? Some insiders started whispering that the stabbing story wasn't just exaggerated, it was strategically used. Back then, controversy sold records. A rapper surviving a violent attack right before an album drop? That's marketing gold. If the story grew bigger with each retelling, so did 50's image. Pain became product. And when you think about it, that's 50's greatest talent, not rapping, not acting, but selling belief. He made people believe in his legend so hard that questioning it feels like blasphemy. But Benzino just cracked that belief open like a piñata. Now, every fan is watching, waiting for 50's response because silence won't hold forever. The streets want proof. The blogs want receipts. And Benzino? He's sitting in interviews smirking like, I said what I said. The story's no longer about who's lying, it's about who's brave enough to tell the truth. Because in hip-hop, truth isn't what happened, it's what people believe happened. And right now, Benzino just made millions of people start believing. Maybe 50's story was never as bulletproof as we thought. The question now, if one lie unravels, does the whole legacy fall apart? Because this isn't just about a fight in a studio anymore. This is about credibility, legacy, and myth, and if there's one thing scarier than getting stabbed, it's being exposed. When the smoke finally started to settle, it wasn't silence that filled the air, it was tension. Thick, uncomfortable, viral tension. The kind that makes everyone hold their breath, refresh their feed, and wait for the next bomb to drop. Because one thing about 50 Cent when he does respond, it's never subtle. But the longer he stayed quiet, the more people started whispering, maybe Benzino hit a truth vein. Now let's be clear, this isn't just some petty feud between two old-school rappers trying to trend. This feels like the unraveling of a myth, the cracking of an image that's been cemented for over 20 years. 50 Cent isn't just an artist. He's an institution. He built a whole empire on the narrative of pain, betrayal, and revenge. From Get Rich or Die Tryin' to Power, every project he's touched has screamed one message: I survived what you couldn't. But Benzino's revelation or accusation, depending on who you ask, hit right at the heart of that message. It's like finding out Batman's parents faked their deaths for publicity. Suddenly, the hero doesn't look so heroic anymore. The internet was feasting. TikTokers made dramatic reenactments of the hit Factory stabbing with captions like, based on a true lie. YouTubers dropped hour-long deep dives comparing Benzino's version with old 50 Cent interviews. Even news outlets that hadn't talked about hip-hop in years were suddenly in on it, like vultures circling over vintage beef. And here's the crazy part: every silence, every lack of comment from 50 became content. People started interpreting his quiet like scripture. He's plotting. He's gathering receipts. He's ignoring it because it's beneath him. But the truth is, the silence was the message. Because 50 Cent knows the internet better than anyone. He knows when you don't feed the beast, the beast gets hungrier. So he let Benzino run wild, ranting on podcasts, posting truth bombs, name-dropping producers and engineers like he was reading a police report. And the more Benzino talked, the more people started noticing inconsistencies. Some details didn't add up. Some witnesses didn't align. Suddenly, the same internet that was worshipping his truth started side-eyeing him. That's when the tables started to turn, because 50's silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. He let Benzino talk himself into a hole. He let the world chew up every soundbite, every quote, every contradiction. Then, just when everyone was arguing, when the memes started slowing down, boom. 50 posted a single image on Instagram. A photo of him smirking in front of a luxury car with the caption, "Somebody always gotta make up stories when they broke. Get recordia tristle." The internet exploded. One post, 15 words, and Benzino's credibility got bulldozed. Within hours, 50's fans were in the comments with the energy of a mob. "We knew it! He's back!" Benzino folded faster than the Source magazine. And that's when the real conversation started, not about the stabbing, but about narrative control. Because in this era, It's not the truth that matters, it's who tells the story better. Benzino came with facts, but 50 came with presence. He didn't even have to prove anything. One post, one laugh, and the internet switched sides faster than a fake friend at a reunion. Still, the damage was done. Even though 50 won the battle of perception, the seed of doubt had already been planted. Some fans couldn't unhear what Benzino said. Some started questioning everything: the shooting, the beefs, the industry betrayals. Was 50 really the underdog? Or was he the best storyteller in hip-hop history? And that's what makes the scandal so legendary. It's not about who's right. It's about who can make you believe. Because let's be real, the entire rap industry thrives on myth. Every artist bends truth into legend. It's part performance, part survival. Tupac had thug life, Biggie had the streets, Jay-Z had the hustle, and 50, he had immortality. He turned pain into power so convincingly that nobody ever questioned it until Benzino cracked that door open. Even industry insiders admitted behind closed doors the Hit Factory story had always been more gossip than gospel. But no one dared question it because the image was too profitable, too iconic. 50's entire brand from power to BMF runs on the same electricity: survival, revenge, dominance. And if the origin story fades, the empire shakes. Meanwhile, Benzino kept doubling down. He went live on Instagram again, waving papers, talking about truth and receipts and the industry cover-up. But by now, people weren't listening. They were watching 50's responses instead, reposting memes, tagging Benzino, laughing him off the stage. 50's followers were posting side-by-side photos with captions like, "One built empires, one built excuses." And that's when Benzino realized something every 50-cent rival eventually learns: you can't out-hustle a hustler who made pain profitable. You can't out-expose a man who already exposed himself in every song, every interview, every movie. See, 50 Cent turned transparency into armor. Every betrayal, every bullet, every wound, he used it to build legend. Even if Benzino was right, it didn't matter. Because in hip-hop, perception is reality. Still, the conversation didn't die. It evolved. Fans started asking bigger questions: how many other rappers faked their street stories? How many legends are built on PR, not pain? The Hit Factory debate became a cultural mirror, forcing everyone to confront how much we want our heroes to be scarred. Because deep down, the fans love the idea of survival. We want the villain who made it, the hustler who beat the odds. We need those myths. That's why 50 Cent's image will always live, real or not. He gave the people a character they could believe in. And Benzino, he might have told the truth, but the truth isn't what goes viral, the performance does. So, in the end, what did this scandal really prove? That in hip-hop, facts don't make legends, feelings do. You don't need a knife wand to be iconic. You just need a story that cuts deep enough to make people care, and 50 Cent understood that from day one. He didn't just survive the game, he authored it. While Benzino's sitting in interviews defending his side, 50's probably laughing somewhere, counting royalties, watching this entire circus play out like another episode of Power. Because even when he's not saying a word, he's still the loudest man in the room. And that's the coldest truth of all: you can't kill a legend whose story already became folklore. You can question it, you can doubt it, but at the end of the day, 50 Cent didn't need the knife, because the real weapon was the myth itself. And whether that stabbing happened or not, one thing's for sure: he cut deeper into hip-hop than anyone ever has. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the twisted beauty of hip-hop mythology, where truth bends, legends are born, and even the lies go platinum. Because whether you believe Benzino's story or not, one thing's for sure: this whole saga proves that in the rap game, reality doesn't sell, reputation does. So what do you think? Did Benzino just expose the biggest PR stunt in hip-hop history? Or is he just rewriting the script because 50 Cent's name still holds more weight than his entire arsenal? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this one's got the internet split like G-Unit in 2008. And before you scroll off, do yourself a favor and smash that like button like you're swinging at a mixtape rival. Don't just tap it, obliterate it. Hit subscribe too, because here at Truth Tattle, we don't just spill tea, we spill gasoline and light the match every week. We dig through the smoke and mirrors of celebrity chaos, exposing the stories Hollywood PR teams wish you'd ignore. From fake feuds to real betrayals, from backstage drama to courtroom secrets, we don't do safe. We do savage. Turn on those notifications, because tomorrow's scandal might make today's look like child's play. And remember, in this industry, everyone's got a story, but only a few can survive the truth. This has been Truth Tattle, where lies get loud and receipts get louder. Until next time, stay nosy, stay savage, and stay ready. Because in the world of fame and fakery, the next truth bomb could drop any second. And when it does, you already know we'll be right here, breaking it down one outrageous secret at a time.